This is the Kindness Matters podcast, a space for stories that inspire, challenge, and bring us a little closer together. If you've been looking for a reminder of the good in people, you're in the right place, because kindness matters, and so do you. It's kindness we are. Hey, hello, and welcome everybody to the show. I am your host, Mike Rathman, and this is the Kindness Matters podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I know that each of us only has so many hours in a day, and the mere fact that you took part of your hour, one of your hours, to listen to this podcast, I appreciate it. I love it, and I thank you for being a part of the kindness journey we got going on here. Today's guest is fantastic. I could just end there, but I won't. Kelly Pelker is the heart behind Glow for Hope, a movement born from personal loss and fueled by a mission to bring light into some of life's darkest moments. Through storytelling, advocacy, and community, she's helping families feel seen, supported, and never alone. Welcome to the show, Kelly.
Thank you, Mike, for having me.
It is my pleasure, for sure. Do we need a trigger warning on this episode, do you think? 'Cause it is kind of a hard topic, right?
It is. It is. I don't know what you're going to title it, but, from my perspective, everybody should be talking about it. So that's a hard one for me to answer.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But in the end, even though this is a hard conversation to have, it's also a hopeful conversation, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's what we're here for. And so, yeah, there we go. But when it comes down to it, and so basically what we're talking about here, and I should probably let you go from here, is suicide awareness, and using community to battle that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? Is that a nice summation of what we're going to talk about here?
Yes.
Okay. So let's start this off. What is Kelly's why for Glow for Hope?
It's kind of multifaceted, I guess. And thinking about the understanding when to push for conversations and give space to people for mental health crises. And, as we kind of delve further into our mission and engaged in discussions about who we were and who we wanted to serve and the resources that we provide, it became clear that it wasn't like my original mission and purpose was more parents and caregivers like myself to have the needed support. But then, it didn't take long to obviously recognize that children and young adults require the same direct assistance to manage their mental health. The more that we can do that in the early stages of life, the less troublesome life may feel later on in life. While it sounds cliche and everybody's saying it now that, it's okay not to be okay. But it's also okay to talk about not being okay. And
that's an important distinction, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody says it's okay to not be okay, but I don't want to hear about it, right?
Yes. You have to give the platform to open up and be willing to listen at the times when somebody needs you, or at least acknowledge that, sometimes we get busy and it's like, okay, I really want to talk to you right now, but I need to finish what I'm doing and then I can reconvene with you, or I can help get you to somebody else who can help you.
Right. So why is Glow for Hope here? What happened that that made you feel the need to create it?
Um, I have unfortunately lost many in my life to suicide, and my nephew took his life, and after that, we started going to the Out of the Darkness walk for that the AFSP puts on throughout the country, and they give you a button that you can write the names on of people that you're walking for today. Um, my list became too long, and
Oh
that
boy.
coupled with my children who each struggle with their own mental health issues, and I just I know that I didn't do everything right, and not all parents will. I'm not alone in that. I know that.
Yeah.
But if I could put forth some tools and resources and a space for people to come together and talk about it, um, then I really just kind of put it all behind me that, okay, I got to quit talking about it and I need to do it. I talked about doing it for 2 years, and finally took a step to make it
Yeah,
happen.
because I think it probably it could have been easy for you to just, like, shrink inside yourself, right? And to say, "This happened, it's horrible, but there's nothing I can do about it."
Mhm.
And I could see where some people might do that, but you chose to use your voice.
I did, and not so much my voice, I would say, but just to have a place where people could go and figure out maybe some different things. And even, I'm still learning as I go. I don't know
Okay.
everything there's to know about this. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a mental health professional. I'm a parent. I'm a an aunt, a sister, a cousin, a best friend. Um, just like so many out there that lose someone.
Yeah.
But
Um,
it's that lived experience and the things that I can find out, or that, the people that I talk to and the people that make up our board who have all had lived experience, and including a suicide attempt survivor. And so it's not all the clinical stuff. Sometimes you need to hear things from the people that have lived it.
yeah. And really, it's all about that human connection, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is, from a very early age, and learning how to manage your emotions and coping skills and techniques. And we have to, we as parents, we have to our kids are watching. We hear that all the
Yes.
time, you're a model. And so, it's okay to step back and say, "Hey, I need a minute before I can deal with this situation right now." And model through your own behaviors how you react to things, and then your kids start to pick up on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, and you were talking about you not being perfect. I don't know of any parent that is perfect. At least, and I think we can every single one of us as parents could could have my kids are in their 30s now, so, but can do a better job, of talking to our kids, letting them know, you know, "It's okay, and if you need somebody, I'm here," right? And maybe I
Mhm.
can't be here right exactly the second that you need me, but I am here, and I care, and I will listen, right?
Yeah, and part of my journey has been to actually embrace the role of listening, and that really listening, active listening is what it's referred to. I'm a
Yeah.
fixer by nature. I've always, I want to be the solution finder and fix everything. And of course, that's magnified then when it's your kid, and
Right.
you just want to make things better for them. And so on this journey, it's been an eye opener for me in actually listening to my kids. My kids give me the feedback on, hey, you know what, mom, if you would just stop and listen to me, let me be in my feelings and have them quit throwing questions at me, quit throwing solutions at me, then things can be a little bit different.
Yeah, for sure. I'm right there with you, though. I'm guilty of that as well. So, talk to me for a little bit about um, Glow for Hope and why Glow for Hope.
Well, it actually came from the first event that we had, which was just the reason that Glow for Hope was even born, or it became a result of it, was I mentioned we went to the Out of the Darkness walks, and the AFSP has this thing called the honor beads. And we go to the one in Louisville because my daughter lives in Louisville, and one of our visits there, we happened to catch a glow in the dark volleyball tournament at a local facility. And I was like, well, wouldn't that be cool if we brought a glow in the dark tournament and then we replicated those honor beads with glow sticks, glow necklaces. And so we kind of adopted the honor bead colors, which there's different colors, and each of those colors signifies your connection to suicide. So that you can really,
Oh,
without even saying anything, as you're going on these walks, people can recognize from the color of your beads what your connection is. And so we
oh,
kind of
so like
adopted that for,
one color for a survivor, one color for a family member.
right,
Is
loss
that
of a sibling, loss of a parent or a spouse. Blue is just kind of universal. You support suicide prevention in general. Um, so we kind of adopted those, put this suicide or glow in the dark spike out suicide volleyball tournament together. And the tagline that we came up with for that was bump set glow for hope. And that's when Glow for Hope was born.
love it?
It
Love
was
that.
kind of like, okay, did we start this or not? It was, a collective of there's so much more that we can do than just throw a volleyball tournament here and give, I mean, that's great. And it's a fun way for people to come together around
Sure.
a good cause. And it's amazing the number of people that open up just because they're in that kind of a space where it's okay to say, they come up and they're like, I've never really told anybody this before, but I struggle.
Yeah.
Or this is my story, or I lost my brother, I lost my, cousin, anybody. And
Yeah.
so it does really just give that safe space in a fun way, fun atmosphere, everything around this, while it's a very sad subject, it doesn't have to be a somber event.
Right. Right. So now you mentioned a volleyball tournament. Is that the Spike Out Suicide
Yes, Spike Out
event?
Suicide. We do that a couple times a year, once in May for Mental Health Awareness Month, and once in September for Suicide Prevention Month. And we do other events too. We have a
Sure.
Hot Rods for Hope, which is a car glow, and we line the streets of our town here, and the cars, classic cars, motorcycles, slingshots, everything comes together, and they all glow up their cars in the evening, and we have a band, and we
Oh,
do
fun.
a brightest glow award. Um, so we've
That's
done that. We
amazing.
do a Raise a Glass to Hope celebrity bartending event, and just
Oh,
we participate in other local community events as well, and just bring literature and um, just get out in the community and just trying to get people to talk.
yeah. Because that's the whole purpose, right? I mean, you can have these fun events, but it inspires people to A, get together and B, to talk, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
When we were talking online and offline before the episode, you talked about the 3 pillars.
Hmm.
Can you tell me some more about that and tell our audience about that? Because I thought those were really cool.
Um, sure. The basis for the organization is just basically, to spark conversation, create community, and ignite hope. and that's our mission around all of it. It falls in with our values to be approachable, connected, and inspiring, and that's what we're all about, and that's we try to tie that into everything that we do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and those are great pillars to build on, right? Um, why do you suppose this is it sounds like a stupid question, but I think it invites a better conversation. Why do people avoid suicide conversations? And I mean, again, it sounds like a
It's
stupid
not a stupid
question.
question. Not at
And
all.
and how does Glow for Hope gently break that barrier?
Um, it's trying to make people understand that just because you talk about suicide or you ask the question of someone that it's kind of a myth, that it sparks suicide and makes people take action, and that's really not true. It opens the
Oh,
door
okay.
to conversation rather than it doesn't plant the seed in somebody's head. It opens the
Right.
door to talk about it.
So that's a myth that if you talk about suicide, somebody will hear that and go, "Oh, I'm going to," or, you know, make an attempt or consider it or what have you.
Mhm. Yes.
I think I fell into that myth. I think I believed that. That's good to know. So do you have any stories about attendees who kind of opened up when you had these conversations?
Um, yeah, we have several
I'm sure
several,
you've got
which is
many,
great,
many stories.
which is great. We get asked a lot. It's like, we go and sit at these events for hours upon hours, and people, they'll see literature on the table that says suicide and just kind of, walk away or turn the other direction,
Yeah.
and then you get the one person that comes up and just starts to open up, and it's like, but we had that happen at one of the, when we were just exhibiting we had a table at one of our local baseball games and had a gentleman, young guy that was, he just kept walking back and forth, and finally he stopped. We handed him a brochure and a glow necklace, um, and then he was just like, I wasn't gonna come tonight, and I decided to, and I've come to the realization now that it was because I was gonna run into you, and he shared his story with us and was very glad that he had made the decision to come. On a similar note, we had, at one of our car glows, a young guy that he had just got off work and was walking to his car, decided to turn back and came to our tent and found out what we were all about. And then he started to share with us his story about his brother had died by suicide, and he couldn't talk to his mom because his mom was so upset about things. And
Oh,
so he didn't really have anybody to talk to. He didn't want to burden his mom. And he just kind of unloaded on us. And he was like, there's a reason, that I turned around and came back here because I needed to find you guys. And of
yeah.
course, we were all like, can we just give you a hug? and
Sure, that would be the yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so
Oh, wow.
it's um it's very moving, and it kind of validates the purpose of why we do go out and do what we do. And even if
Yeah.
it's, 1 in 50 people that have that real connection, it it makes it all worthwhile.
All you need
And
to do is
it's
find that
very rare to
one.
find somebody that doesn't have a connection to someone that they've lost by suicide.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, all you have to do is you need to reach that one person that needs to hear that message, right? And
Right.
yeah. So earlier you were talking and you mentioned it, I guess almost kind of in passing about reaching kids early. Um,
Mhm.
And I think I am under the general assumption, and I think maybe some of our listeners are, that middle school is kind of where it all starts happening and you start reaching out. But you believe that middle school is too late to start talking about that kind of stuff.
I mean, any point in time is the right time as long as you're reaching them and teaching
Yeah,
them, those the resilience and the mental toughness and the coping skills and how to manage their emotions. Um, but it starts a lot younger than that. Um,
that's
yeah, I mean,
horrifying.
there are reports of death by suicide for as young as 9, 10 years old. It's like, and how can kids even have that in their mind
Yeah,
is just mind blowing to that's probably a wrong choice of words there, but,
I get
it's
it.
just it's unfathomable, and so it's kind of taking that, I think it's hard to, like, maybe approach schools because you wanna respect parents who don't necessarily want to have their kids exposed to it, so
Right.
okay, that's when you can come in and just teach them the skills on how to deal with their emotions and, you know, when they get angry, what are they supposed to do and what are
Yeah,
their different emotions to begin with? And so just at any age, the earlier the
yeah,
better that we can start shaping those things and their minds. Yeah, I mean, we're born into this world, we don't know anything. We know absolutely nothing. So we learn those behaviors from society and our home environments and all of that. So we have to shape those young minds into believing in themselves, and it's
yeah,
okay to get angry, but we don't have to stay in anger and we don't have to lash out in anger. It's okay to be sad, but we don't need to stay sad. And what can I when you are feeling sad, what are some things that you can do? You can
yeah,
listen to music that's uplifting. You can color. You can tear up a piece of paper. There are all kinds of different coping mechanisms that you can learn. Um, and also when it gets to be too much and a parent just doesn't really know how to manage what their kid's going through, it's okay to see a therapist.
yeah,
There's nothing wrong
yeah,
with that. And start with your pediatrician. They can make recommendations. Um, but there's nothing wrong at all with going to see a therapist. And there are
yeah,
different types of therapists. We have an episode on our podcast that kind of breaks down what all the different, there's therapists and counselors and psychiatrists and psychologists, and that episode kind of explains what the different ones do. There's art therapists, there's music therapists, there's all kinds of
yeah,
different avenues to learn cognitive behavioral therapy and skills.
yeah, yeah, yes, yes, all of that, yes. So, if for the parents that are listening right now who maybe have not necessarily talked about these kind of things with their kids, what are some things that they can do right now to for modeling emotional behavior, for example?
Mhm.
Because kids are they learn by watching, right? And you said
Right,
that earlier too.
right.
So, what can we do as parents? Or did we just pretty much go over that? We kinda
I think
covered that, didn't
we pretty much covered it. It just, to just kind of model like, okay, if you're panicked in a moment or you don't really know how to handle a situation, step back and
we?
be
Yeah,
open with your kid. It doesn't show weakness, which is and something that I always thought, I'm the parent, I have to take this upper position, and I don't, I don't need my kid thinking that they can manipulate my behavior by the way that they're acting. So it works out a lot better if you can, your kids can tell you how you can interact with them. I'm not saying that that's the case every single time,
Yeah.
but especially as they get older and you and into the teen years, and it's like they're allowed to have these feelings. They're allowed to be mad. They're allowed to say, okay, I can't say anything to you right now because it's going to come out in a fit of rage or anger. And then we just keep pushing them as parents. And
Yeah.
so it's, you've got to find that balance and the right communication that works for you and your family dynamic. And sometimes you might need the intervention with the therapist in order to figure out what that is. And
Yeah.
we are developing an online resource hub for, we're starting off with parents because we're just about to release next month a parent guide on
Nice.
navigating life with a child with mental health challenges, and then and that'll be accompanied by an online resource hub as well. So keep watch on our website, follow us on Facebook to when those things come out. But just be,
Yeah.
some different things, and there's conversation starter cards that we're working on. If you're worried
Perfect.
about them, or if you're trying to approach, this subject that's very hard, if you think your child is harming themselves, or certain things that you can say, what to say, what not to say, and, because it can make a difference. Because you don't want to trigger, which can happen, and
Yeah.
it's not intentional by any means. We just don't always know what we don't know. And
Exactly. So let's talk about the stigma, um, and how Glow for Help helps to break that stigma. Um, we talked about language matters, and can you talk a little bit about that? Because there are a lot of myths, and we talked about some of them, talking about it.
mhm,
But um, for example, die by suicide versus committed suicide.
right.
Which
It's
one's the wrong one there?
The preference would be to change it to die by suicide and not committed suicide. It's not a crime to die,
Right,
and just, you think about it, you wouldn't say that somebody committed cancer. They died from cancer.
right,
Just like mental health is very much the same as physical health. You would go to a doctor for a broken arm, so go to a doctor for your mental health.
right, right, for sure. Um, why do we think okay, again, sounds like a stupid question.
Mm,
There are one this is where you chime in and go, "There are no stupid questions, Mike."
there are
Um,
none. Ask away
um,
without prefacing. That's all good.
why is silence more dangerous than discomfort?
Because it costs lives, plain and simple. It costs
Yeah,
lives.
yeah, staying silent really does, doesn't it?
Mhm. Yep,
Um,
very much. Silence doesn't protect the people from suicide, it protects the people from having to talk about it, and those are very
yes,
different things.
yes. Yeah,
When we say they committed suicide, we're making a judgment on what they did, and when we
yeah,
say died by, we make space for grief to happen.
that's important.
Mhm,
That's so if you had some i- speaking strictly to my listeners right now,
mhm.
what would you say to somebody who is struggling?
Um, to get help, first off, if you feel like you're on the verge of harming yourself, call 911, find a trusted adult, go to the nearest emergency room. If you just need someone to talk to and feel that you can't talk to anyone around you, then there are a multitude of resources available, such as you can call or text HOPE to 988, which is a suicide crisis line.
Yeah.
Um, it's that's they're manned 24/7. If you don't want to talk to somebody, then you can text
Okay.
and just be there for you.
Yeah, for sure. How about what would you say to a parent who's worried or maybe suspects but doesn't wanna ask? You're gonna say ask, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say ask. It's hard, but it's better to ask than not ask.
Yeah. Do you
And
find that people say to you, "I did not see this coming,"
all the time. And
every
there's
single
no
time? I
fault
would
in that.
imagine. Hmm?
There's no fault in that. It's gonna happen a lot because, you know, it's not typically one thing that triggers someone to take action to take their life. It's a culmination of things, and,
Yeah.
it's demons inside. They don't think about things the way that you or I might think about them, and they just feel that the world is gonna be so much better off without them, which we all know is simply not true,
Right.
but it's their belief, it's their feeling, and you have
Yeah.
to get to the reasons of why they're feeling that way and what we can do to fix that and give them hope for the future. And it's,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
slippery slope.
And I think we might have already covered this, but what would you say to a listener who just maybe wants to get help but doesn't know where to start? And obviously, 988 is a good resource.
988, your primary care physician, a trusted friend. I you know, believe me when I say that if you tell them you're struggling, they're not going to un unfriend you.
Right.
They might not know all the right things to say, but they can help you get help. Sometimes you just need somebody to sit and listen to you or just sit with you in silence.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
ask for that, which is, again, it's a challenge because people people don't wanna talk, especially men. You guys, you gotta have that
I
macho
know.
image. Gotta have
I
that
know.
macho image, and you wanna be the tough
Yeah.
guy, and so it's, I mean, men are more likely to die by suicide. I think it's 10 times more likely to die by suicide than anyone else, and
That's
it's,
so weird. Yeah.
uh, I think I think some of that, it stems from society, and you have to be this tough guy. You can't cry, you can't show your emotions. It's okay to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I I've been there. And it's the worst. Just keeping it all inside.
Mhm. And if
Okay. That
if
yeah.
someone approaches you or you're concerned about someone and um you just kind of want to check in with them and because you're noticing something is off, just ask them, or tell them,
Yeah.
I've been thinking about you a lot lately. How are you really doing? And
Yeah.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
I tell you one answer that I never let slide, and that
God.
is I'm fine. And
How are you really
I learned this acronym for the word fine, which is feelings inside never expressed.
Oh.
And I don't buy that one, and I will tell people that. And
Yeah.
I run into this girl quite often, and I always ask her how she's doing because I know she's had some struggles. I always got, "I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine." And one day I pushed back on her. I'm like, "You know what? I don't I wanna know how you're really doing because I
Yeah.
sense that things aren't really fine." And I told her that acronym, and she was like, "Wow." And so now every time I see her, she makes it a point to ask me how I'm doing, number one. And number two, she'll always say, you know what, I'm having a good day, or today's not so good, or she doesn't answer with fine anymore. And she thinks
Fair
about
enough.
it.
Fair enough. Okay, so where can we find, where can my listeners find Glow for Hope? And if they want to support, how can they go about doing that?
Our website is Glow for Hope NFP, like not for profit. So glowforhopenfp.org. And it'll tell you about our different events we have going. We keep watch on it for the resource hub and the parents guide that's coming out. All of our podcast episodes are there. We do have the Glow for Hope podcast, Sparky Conversation on Mental Health, where we have various experts and people that come on and share their stories and experiences. And we're fairly new with that, about 26 episodes now, I think, and growing.
Nice.
So
Cool.
we and there's a
Keep
big
up the good
donate
work.
button on there if you want to donate. We're always looking for volunteers too. And
Perfect.
we do have our Spike Out Suicides coming up in May, but next month, I don't know when this is going to air. But we also do virtual teams. So you can be anywhere and have a team on Spike Out Suicide and just
Nice.
fundraise for us.
Nice. Kelly Pelker, thank you
Uh-huh.
so much for sharing your time with me today, and my audience. You guys are putting so much positive energy out in the world, and it's so needed. And I just want to say thank you from me and my audience to you guys.
Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate you having us. And it's people like you that give us a voice or a platform to get out there and help spread the word. So thank you.
Human first, before the names,
Thanks so much for hanging out with us for today's episode of the Kindness Matters podcast with my very special guest, Kelly Pelker. I really appreciate you tuning in and being a part of this kindness community. If you liked what you heard, leaving a quick review or a comment really helps others find the show, and it means a lot to me personally. And hey, if you can't support us financially, that's totally okay. The best way you can support the show is to go out and do one random act of kindness for a stranger today. But if you are in a position to help us grow, you can make a one-time gift or join one of our monthly supporter tiers over on Buy Me a Coffee, or maybe buying some merch or checking out my new book, Still Changing a World. All of those links are in the show notes, and they help support this show, and they help to continue to push kindness out into the world. We will be back again next week with another new episode, but until then, remember, kindness matters, and so do you.
before the names.